How's it going, guys? It's Gavin here from Deep Blue Tutorials. Today's the start of our WordPress tutorial series. Now, WordPress is essentially the most popular content management system on the web. I think 20% of all new websites are making use of it. There are some major websites out there that are making use of WordPress. It started out as a blogging tool and it has just exploded and is now just a major player in the content management system arena. Now, WordPress makes use of PHP and MySQL. In order to follow along with this series, you may need a basic knowledge of PHP. It's probably not essential, and especially if you have a knack for picking up things very quickly, you may be able to follow along, no bother. But once we delve a little deeper into the series, we will be using a bit more advanced PHP. So if you're able, just get yourself familiar with the syntax of it, get yourself familiar with what it does and how to use it. Now, before we start downloading WordPress or before we start coding any lines of PHP, we have to set up a web server. Now, luckily, there is a web server called Xampp. It's an open source web server solution. It acts as a free web server on your local machine, and it's available at apachefriends.org. So I'm just going to go to that website now, type in Xampp into Google. Now, on the website, it is available for multiple different operating systems. I'll be using it for WordPress. If you're using it for another one, just download the right one. Now I'm going to go to the download section here. It will take me to further down the page. There are 3 different downloads. One is the .exe file here. That is the one I will be using today. There is a zip file, and if you're comfortable downloading a zip file and installing it, feel free. The same with the 7-zip file. If you feel comfortable doing it, feel free. 7-zip file is just a little more lightweight, that's all. Now, I already have it installed here, so when you click on this page, or when you click on this link, it will take you to SourceForge, and the download will start there. Now, I already have it downloaded, so I'm going to go to my downloads folder. After I cancel this, I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and I'm going to get started installing it. Select yes. I'm going to choose English. Press OK. Next. I'm going to install it onto my C drive. It does, as you can see, it does require quite a bit of space. Nearly half a gigabyte. Now, as I say, hard drives are very cheap these days, so it's not a lot of space in the grand scheme of things. I'll create a desktop icon. I won't create a start menu icon. And I'm going to install. Now, this install, I think, from what I remember, it does take a minute or so. It is quite a big file, as I said. And essentially what this is going to do is it's going to act as a web server on your local machine. Won't be able to be viewed from any other machine. It'll just be for yours. It means you can test out your WordPress sites. Any PHP code you might conjure up, any websites you might want to test, it will test them as if they were on a real web server. It is free, it is open source, same as WordPress, and it will help you a lot. I've been using Xampp for years now, and it helps out quite a bit. Now I'm going to skip ahead in this video because this will take a minute or two and I don't feel like filling the time, so I'll talk in a minute. Welcome back, guys. Now, the installer has just finished. It does take a minute or two, as I said. So once it's done, click finish. And when it asks you to start the control panel, click yes. Now it'll start down here, and I'll just reduce all this. Now, on this control panel, you have to start Apache. Make sure MySQL is started as well. Now, okay, in order to test this out, I'm going to go into my web browser and I'm going to type into the search bar localhost/Xampp, and it should come up with a screen saying welcome to Xampp for Windows. Congratulations, you've successfully installed it. That's essentially it for this tutorial, guys. I know you didn't learn a lot here, and it's just one of those things you need to install before you get started. In the next tutorial we'll be installing WordPress and we will set up your very first WordPress database and set up your very first WordPress site. Thanks for listening. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and see you then.